Hi everyone, I'm Luke Shoemaker. It's good to see everyone again. I currently work as a high school chemistry teacher in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm from southern Indiana, and I think living in these two places has shaped my reflection process in terms of how I see myself positioned in the Anthropocene. In southern Indiana, I was used to you know wide open like green spaces, but even reflecting now, I see like one of the main impacts I think humans were having on that particular area of land was the impacts through farming. There were huge patches of land that had been cleared for this monoculture like corn and other crops that was all harvested at the same time. And of course, just the clearing of land results in habitat loss and deforestation and other impacts that come from that. And then in Phoenix, it was a different landscape that I had gotten used to, with large patches of these housing developments that were very spread out. And I think just my own move here also is characteristic of just the increased human mobility that is part of the, or is one of the characteristics of the Anthropocene. And also just this idea that we can kind of, we're almost like separate from the land, or we can, this kind of view that exists in our own thinking, perhaps that we're separate from the land because Phoenix, it's a desert, right? So by its natural habitat, we would think it's a desirable place to live, but the population has increased significantly over the past few years. So it just speaks to this idea that we have resources, we can almost manipulate the land to fit our own needs. But I think recent events in the news have shaped that this isn't maybe sustainable, right? Because we're currently facing drought, water shortages, and wildfires in the West. And so these are just pictures of, Lake Mead is one of those sources of water that Phoenix relies on. A man-made created lake in that, but it's at very low levels currently. This picture here is something that made me reflect on my own process and how I kind of view the Anthropocene. This is a plot of land next to where I live. It's there. An apartment complex is currently being constructed on it, but I was frustrated to learn that the apartment complex is going to be single story. So that just speaks to my own, I think, reflection process, because for me, I just thought, well, in the current housing shortage and rent crisis, it almost seems like a waste of land. If we could get double story, more people could make use of that land. But of course, like, this is something that I think one of the readings talks about, is developing this humility and kind of reflecting on our own cultural and societal norms. This is just another picture that related to the water crisis, and that there are many farms where farmers have plots of land that simply can't be used because they don't have the water for them. And in education, so I'm teaching chemistry in my specific context now. One thing that is more of an emphasis than it was during the Holocene is this emphasis on green and sustainable chemistry, and the fact that we want to engage in the teaching labs in a very green way, with minimizing waste or using materials that are environmentally they're safe to dispose of without using the chemical company. But also in my own teaching, I do think it's important to try to incorporate concepts from sustainability into science. Just maybe looking at data, looking at graphs. We kind of start class with different questions each day, and so I'll try to incorporate that into these questions. But I do think there is more that, there's more to do, okay? I think one reading was talking about, trying to, really use our imaginations to look at what's been ignored in the current progress that humans have made. And so that's what I'm excited to dive into more with this class, and I'm excited to work with everyone. Thank you.